Hi, I'm Andrew Graham Martin, and this is my story, Tornadoes. They solved tornadoes, so the siren got useless. A horn that doesn't make noise is just trash, but high up. So someone, Ralph Montgomery, there's no reason to be coy, got the good idea to use the siren instead for, how would you say, more abstract emergencies. Power's out at the Piggly Wiggly, and the milk's turning fast. Jackson, the miller's excitable English setter, nudged open their back screen door and ran away to hide in the woods behind the golf course. Braylon Little's got shingles. These all warranted a honk and a woo. At first, talk about utopia. Any little trouble you had, just ring City Hall and bang, you've got all your neighbors and maybe even the police or fire department at your front door to see if they can help out. Made fixing your busted water pressure tank a whole bunch easier, that's for sure. A heavy thing lifted by 10 strong men is a light thing. Ralph was real high on himself. What a good idea he'd had. But then people started abusing the system. They always do. They'd ring for just about anything. Judith Heinsberg's examining each stamp individually at the front of the line in the post office. Is hamburger meat okay to eat if it smells like this? Can't decide whether to wear the corduroy skirt or the plaid slacks to my job interview tomorrow. The siren started to wheeze like it was running out of breath. Ralph kept trying to make excuses. It'll level itself out, he'd say. Things like this always have an adjustment period. So an emergency deeming council was established. In effect, all this did was set up a middleman in between calling City Hall and getting the help you needed. Now you had to dial 123 first to leave a message with the emergency deeming council, and then you had to twiddle your thumbs while they made their way through the messages from that day. And then if they got to yours and you were lucky enough to have it deemed an emergency, then you'd get a call back, and then you would be permitted to go ahead and give a call to City Hall so they could fire up the siren. They wouldn't even make the call for you. Fell outside their scope, they said. And if you're thinking, why not sidestep the council and call City Hall direct like the good old days? Well, they thought of that too. When the EDC called you back, they also gave you a unique one-time code to deliver over the phone to City Hall, and only then would your emergency be truly confirmed worthy of a honk and a woo. The code was only good for 12 hours too. The reasoning being, if you could wait more than 12 hours to make your call after being given the go-ahead, it probably wasn't as much of an emergency as the council had deemed. The council was only human after all. They thought of just about everything. They had to because they knew the public would think of just about everything too. They always do. So the sirens became less frequent, and when they went off, you once again could be pretty sure whatever it was warranted some actual aid, and you should ask around and head over if you could spare a minute. Not to say they all became true emergencies again. Sometimes goofy stuff slipped through, like Tawny Randall's chest pains, which turned out to be from 2 hot buffalo wings, or the bear in Hollows Creek, which turned out to be a dozen or so raccoons humping each other. The council was only human. Some calls were no-brainers, though, like when Ralph Montgomery got shot by Zepp Shirtland. Apparently, Zepp's request for someone to come look at his rabbit, Biff, who was breathing funny, was deemed a non-emergency, a non-E in council parlance, and then the poor thing's lungs went kaput that night. So, Zepp acted on his sadness and drove to Ralph's house with a bottle of Evan Williams and a 44 Special in his passenger seat. Because the way Zepp saw it, if it weren't for Ralph's blockbuster idea in the first place, Zepp would have just been able to call Charlie, the vet, like he might have in the good old days. But now Charlie had closed shop since he hadn't been getting any calls, since they were now all being routed to the EDC. Zepp was always getting hot like that. He once got dragged out of a high school football game for hucking a can of Diet Coke at the coach for punting on 3rd and long. One of the men to do the dragging, incidentally, was Ralph. Ralph was always trying to help out. So his getting shot was an easy E by the time the council got around to it, but that was too late. He'd already spent the night lying on his kitchen floor, feeling his shirt get sticky with blood, his eyes darting around in his head like he was trying to put together in sequence all the events that had led him to be there, with his friend standing over him, holding a dead rabbit in one hand and a telephone in another, sniffling and saying he wished he could go back in time. And Ralph, wheezing, whispered things back at Zepp that didn't exactly make sense, like maybe he wasn't exactly sure who he was talking to or what point in his life he was at. Things like, new ideas always have unintended consequences, and it takes time to work out kinks, and give it another week.